Hi guys, this is Breaker, and basically I've had to, I've gone over the WCS format, and I gotta say I'm not the only one who's relatively displeased with it. So I figured I would go through and just show you guys some opinions that were voiced by the community that are within China as well as Taiwan. So this is first of all going to involve the most popular forum for StarCraft 2 that I know of. That would be neotv.cn. Here we go. So here's where I posted basically all the info that I've got on the WCS, the format for it. I did my best to translate it. Some of it looks kind of broken, as you can see. But I went ahead and put up this stretched out Breaker SC2 logo because some of the pictures that we have for some people's display avatars are not safe for work. So here we go. 中信都没有军完呢，还能怎么样啊? Okay, so basically my understanding is that StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm is still not released in China, so we're still wondering just what the hell is up with that. First and foremost, but I mean that's just aside from the fact that there is not going to be a World Championship Series for China or Taiwan. But here we go. And this guy's just trying to come for me. He's saying, yeah, you can still be the English, what's what I'm looking for, English caster for the NSL. I don't care about that. He says, don't worry about it. This is just one of those small things in life, and he says, yeah, I can still be that, okay. Let's see, 没有亚洲区，中国选手想要加 WCS 有点难了. Okay, so basically he says there's no Asian district, there's just it's just a little more difficult for Chinese players to get in, and sure, like, I understand that it's possible for Chinese players to do this, but I'll get to that later. 炳哥，你去保学部举办抗议考你了. Okay, so this guy's just telling me to go and what's the word I'm looking for? Go and protest at the front door of Blizzard in USA. And he says 中国现在也就 IG 哪几个能打了，这样结果我觉得很正常. Okay, so I'm guessing what this guy's trying to say is, if a couple of IG members are actually invited to participate in the WCS Korea qualifiers, if you will, then I'm sure they would maybe have a chance. But, with what we see so far, this basically dashes all the hopes of most Chinese competitors. Australians and South Americans not to be omitted either. I'm sorry, didn't mean to omit anyone else here. But of course, what I'm trying to say here is representing the Chinese-speaking spectrum of StarCraft 2 fans. China 确实没有实力，被忽略也没办法. Okay. So basically, what this guy has to say, what this guy who's posing as Acer Scarlet has to say is that China is not that strong, and if we were to ignore this, it would basically do us no good. 这样 CEO 的采访吧看过了，他这段话也是简单来说是比赛的都挺好的，竞争要略丰富，但是选手和队伍的赛事曾安排上困难了点，更重要的是一周周的乱七八糟的比赛，也没个统一标准，到底他妈的谁的牛逼啊？现在好了，歌都给你们分数了。Okay, so basically what he's saying is he translated everything that was in the Dustin Browder interview, CEO interview is basically what he's saying. He says 看到明年呢季联赛也加进来啊，新季国内起步往上主因啊。Okay, so basically StarCraft 2 is not the main cause for competitive gaming. 欧美的线上作弊太大，怎么解决这个问题? Okay, so how do you get players to they're trying to cheat us into buying. I think what he's trying to say is he's trying to cheat us into buying American accounts in order to play Heart of the Swarm. Anyway, you can see that many people are not really contented with all of this. You know, this guy's saying, 可以了解. He says he can understand what this is all about. 去年的只有 Com 和台湾的 Sen 进总决赛 Com 还是保送的. Okay, so let's just leave it at that. I'm not saying the rest of what he had to say is unimportant. I did read all of the replies in this, and it's just, you know, I feel like we're dashing all of the hopes of Chinese talent by doing this, and I don't think it's right. So, you know, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close that, and I'm going to show you just what some people have had to say on Facebook about this. I made a thread about it. Not a thread, but I basically, jeez, I'm trying to figure out what this is all about. Here we go. Let me go to my notifications. Okay, so basically, I said this year there's not going to be a WCS Taipei. There won't be a WCS Taiwan is what I meant to say. And I said, what do you guys think about this? Of course, we did have this guy. He says, like a C Taiwan. Okay, so yeah, hang on just a second. I'm trying to get more and more people, or I'm trying to find the way to load more comments, but it looks like I can't. Okay, so in that case, the Koreans won't even face that horrible lag. Oh, let me go ahead and conceal these guys' identities. Okay. What I thought is, fuck it. Okay, that's from Zihab Niu. I said, 给我解释一下你们的看法，我要尽量的保学，让保学知道他们的脑子进水了. So I said, basically here, tell me what you guys want, and I will explain to Blizzard that they have basically gone retarded with what they've done here. 上面这一句是看过你的中文最好的一句. So this guy's saying this is the best sentence I've ever heard from you in Chinese. Basically, 应该是说台湾的玩家可能全体 I forget what this guy has to say, but you know, it's basically oh yeah, I remember he says like something about boycotting Blizzard products, and this is just a little more, you know, frustration that everybody has to eat through. 报税就是吃定玩家只能买单. Okay, 接手玩家游戏玩家. If there is a okay, I asked one lay die a Finnish Chinese friend of mine. He says, like I see Koreans, to be honest, yeah. In that case, the Koreans won't even face that horrible lag. The thing is, like, ultimately, the whole premise and the whole goal of last year's WCS was to give every single player, a chance at trying to make a name for themselves. And, you know, it just seems like by doing this, we're making it more difficult. Each country had its own representatives last year. We're talking like China, I think, had Max Said as well as Calm. And Taiwan had Sen, maybe another player, but I can't remember who exactly it was. And it was just a great time for everybody to get together, gather together, and you know, really have fun in Shanghai. You know, but here we go. Let me go ahead and just continue reading through some of these guys' remarks. 光 CN 玩家就可以把他们弄死吧. Okay, well, I'm just gonna leave that out. Let me see. Okay, 一人一信尊保学管保学的服. Okay. Basically, everyone's gonna. He's basically encouraging that everybody each writes one letter to Blizzard about this, and you know, everybody's upset about it. And here I said, 这个意思就是，若台湾或中国玩家们想进入 WCS 的话，他们得在韩国竞争。这就是我说他们十分艰苦的原因. Okay, so this is basically the whole reason why I said that it's going to get like 10, 20, 30, 100 times harder for anyone in Taiwan to make it to the WCS, including Sen. They're going to have to go through the Korean server, and I mean, like, there's supposed to be some more information regarding that tomorrow, so I don't quite understand it. And here we go. Lima Soon's just like, they should just make an Asia district, just like they have an American district, if you will. And I'm just thinking this is far too vague. This, I mean, there's a reason why we call it World Championship Series. I'd say it's comparable to the Olympics for StarCraft, but each country has one representative. Usually, at the very least. Here we go. 但是分这样，我们对手一样还是韩国人居多啊，应该是要追求一个伺服器一区比较好。Okay, so basically what this guy has to say is that there's so many Korean players, if we were just to divide it up back into the old Taiwan server, that would be great. But, I mean, no matter how you try to cut it, guys, it's just not pretty. I mean, I of course have my own thoughts on this. I'm not just saying that as a whole there should be more Taiwan players, there should be more China players. I'm saying we should go back to the old system that it was like a year ago. That is to say, players from South America, Brazil had its own player, I think. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Australia, of course, PIG. Taiwan having Sen, and I can only wonder who... I actually didn't follow the WCS China like I should have, and now this is the ultimate point of everything. Everybody's hopes are being dashed. Everyone who had a chance last year to get in on the WCS now has close to no chance. We're talking about the Far Eastern Hemisphere. We're talking about Australia, Taiwan, China. These are the three most critical places on Earth where people play StarCraft, I think. And, just having all of them competing against Koreans on the very turf that the Koreans are playing on, I mean, on their own servers and their own competitions. The only foreigner, the only non-Korean that is capable of competing with people in the GSL that we've seen this season thus far, of course, well, there's actually two. There's Huck, and then there's Stefano. I want to highlight that there's only a handful of players who playing in any Korean competition from China and Taiwan. There's just so few of them. There's Sen, there's IG Maxed, and there's IG Shiguo. But that's all I know about in terms of StarCraft, and that's all I've known about for the past 3 years in terms of Chinese-speaking players that go to Korea to compete. Just these three, and of course it goes without saying that they didn't win first place. But I mean, what does one do? How do we fix this? There's just so many ways, and I don't know. I just think that this new system is becoming a detriment. Like when players were watching, I'm trying to think here. When Dignitas Killer was playing against Sen at the Battle.net World Championships in Shanghai, I was looking at a chat room on Twitch.tv that had people shouting in Spanish, "Go Dignitas Killer, go Dignitas Killer, go Killer, go, go Killer, go!" And then I saw people who were typing away in Chinese, "Go Sen, go, go Sen, go!" on the very same stream. So I mean, just this level of internationalization. This isn't about marketing, this isn't about money, this is about national pride in esports. We're talking with, I want to say, the second most popular game on the planet, the first one being League of Legends. I hate to say it, but I mean, this is just... And I mean, the thing is, with League of Legends, you're counting on an entire team, you're not counting on a single figure, a single icon that represents an entire nation. When people... Let me put it to you this way. I can stream any amount of Taiwanese talent on Twitch.tv. I can, but there's no way I can get 2,000 people watching my stream all at the same time unless I'm casting Gamania Sen, or unless I'm casting Invictus Gaming's Shiguo, or unless I'm casting Invictus Gaming's Maxed. But this isn't about me. This isn't about casting yet. This is about those players, and, well, I guess I may as well bring it to my own point. Like, I was actually looking forward to hearing that there would be a WCS Taiwan this year, a WCS Shanghai as well, just because I'm the best known foreign caster in China and Taiwan. I'm the guy who does all the posting on their own forums, on their own bulletin board systems in Chinese. Sometimes I cast in Chinese when there's no one else available to cast for a tournament. This has been exclusively for the Russia StarCraft League. I've done it for the MSI Pro World Cup as well. But I was just hoping, just maybe, I could, be an English caster for the WCS Taipei. I had a chance to do that back in 2012. I couldn't do it because my visa expired a month before that event took place. So, I'm relatively disappointed. It would have been a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but I was looking forward to this year's WCS Shanghai. And if anyone wants to ask, I think I was talking to Beta face-to-face, and I couldn't... Here's the biggest problem. Like, I didn't know who I was talking to in Taiwan until I left. But I'm pretty sure I was talking to Beta when he said, oh, we need someone to cast the WCS here next month, and I had no clue what was going on. And then I only found out in November just how big that tournament was. I think it was 500,000 new Taiwan dollars as the cash prize, but it doesn't matter. So there it is. My shot's gone, but more importantly, the shots of all the pro players are gone. For those of you who took the time to sit down and watch this, if you've got anything to say, say it. If it's hate mail, hate, just hate. If it's, hey, cheer up, life's not over, go ahead and leave that too. But it clearly shows to me that Blizzard is neglecting the Chinese-speaking scene a lot. I don't know how else to say it. So, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.